Claps.
What's up, T Squad? It's me, Keisha, and I'm here with this week's All Tea, All Shade, Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 18, Episode 17 review. This was the season finale episode, and it was a really good season finale. So the episode begins with Gina and Emily meeting at an axe throwing place, and they discuss how Shannon decided to leave early by herself. She did not want to fly back with Tamara. Do I blame her? Absolutely not. I wouldn't have wanted to fly back with Tamara either. Okay, especially after she had been coming for her the entire trip, getting on her nerves, attacking her left and right, calling her a drunk every opportunity she could. I wouldn't have wanted to be around her neither. Absolutely not. So I don't blame Shannon. Gina says in her confessional that she sees how Shannon is changing, but how Tamara is not. And even though Shannon was proven to be involved in some messy behavior this season, a lot of the women gave her a pass because they have seen a shift in Shannon, whereas Tamara is the same old nutcase that she has always been. So Jenn arrives, and to their surprise, she has an engagement ring on. Ryan proposed to her when they were on vacation, and I gotta say, the man did great with the ring. It looked like an ice skating ring on her finger. Now, who paid for the ring exactly? We don't know if it was Ryan's money or some stolen money. But nonetheless, the ring is gorgeous. Gina says in her confessional, instead of him getting her a ring, though, couldn't he have just given her the rent money? And I was like, ding, 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 ding. Like, he ain't gave her the money to pay off that place yet? Like, it should be a drop in the bucket for him. So I cannot wait to find out at this reunion, has she paid them people they ain't got money yet? Like, what is going on? So, Shannon arrives, and Jenn talks about how she's supposed to meet up with Tamara because Tamara wants to show her proof that Shannon was in on the whole situation. And basically she wants to turn Jenn against Shannon, but she doesn't even really care. She really honestly doesn't. She doesn't really want to meet up with Tamara. She's on a high right now and don't want to be bothered. Okay. Do I blame Jenn for that? Absolutely not. After the way that Tamara has treated her, I wouldn't care what she had to say either, because at that point, it really wouldn't have mattered to me. It really honestly wouldn't. Then we see that Katie's daughter, Kylie, has been approved for her name change. She changed her last name to her stepfather's. And that whole situation really needs to be cleared up for me, because her oldest daughter, Kylie, has the same father as her son, who lives with his father. So I'm just trying to figure out, why is it that the father has such a close relationship with the son, but not with Kylie? It's so weird to me. Like, what is that about? I need more context, way more context. Then we go to Gina and Travis. And Travis doesn't think that it was a good idea for them to live apart. He's still having a very hard time adjusting to that. He doesn't agree with it at all. He's very upset. But from what we keep on hearing from Gina is that the reason why she decided that they needed to move apart from each other is because of his crazy soon-to-be ex-wife. Like, it has just been too much. They have been dealing with this for years, and it just got to be too much. Like, she is really crazy and aggressive, and Gina couldn't take it anymore. And so I'm then left trying to figure out, what is it that he doesn't understand? Don't nobody want to deal with it. And if we live together, I have to see this woman. she calling your phone or whatever the case may be. I got my children. Like, it's just a lot. It's a lot. And don't nobody got time to be dealing with such idiotic, crazy behavior. Don't nobody want to live their life having to go through that. So I get where Gina is coming from. So she says that, you know, maybe they should go to therapy so she can figure out how to handle this whole entire situation, because as of right now, she is just not equipped with the tools to deal with this crazy lady. Child, So it's the day of Jenn's engagement party that Alexis is throwing for her, and the theme is ugly bridesmaids dresses. Katie and Matt do not speak to Heather when they walk past her, and Heather points that out to Emily. And it was funny because Katie and Matt felt like she snubbed them. So they both were feeling some type of way about the same thing and feeling like the other one was being funny towards the other person. Child, just a mess. A mess. And you know what's funny to me is I think under different circumstances that Katie and Heather would have been friends. I really do. But this episode and last episode has made me look at Katie a little differently. I loved Shannon's hairdo. It looked so good from behind. Joe from season 1 and season 2 of OC was there, and we find out that she actually used to work for Ryan back in the day. So I need some tea from Joe to find out, did she ever get any shady vibes from Ryan? Like, what's the tea on that? Ryan's friend Matt, who was a part of this whole investigation, was there, and we overhear him laughing and talking and introduces Ryan as his money launderer, which did not age very well because of what ended up happening just a few weeks later. Heather and Emily, surprisingly, are getting along very well. They laughing and kikiing with each other, and it was actually refreshing to see Heather like let loose and be funny and not be so tightly wound. And I'm like, is this a friendship brewing right here? Because, you know, for the last few seasons, it has seemed like Emily has had a hard on for Heather. And like I've been saying, it has felt like she has always wanted this like approval from Heather. And I think that they would actually get along, and that Emily would bring like that fun side out of Heather, so she won't be so dang on pretentious all the time. I actually enjoyed their scenes with one another. Emily confronts Katie about the whole situation with her twin boys. And Katie says, you know, that her daughter told her a different story, that her boys brought it to her. And, you know, Emily is saying that her boys said that Kylie brought it up to them, or whatever the case may be. Katie says that, you know, well, I don't think that my daughter would make up something like this. She is 20 years old, but I will address it. But the producers give us a flashback scene of Katie and her son and Matt at the dinner table, and they asked her how her day was. And before she could even say anything, her son was like, was Heather being a jerk to you again? Like, was she being a jerk to you again? So we saw right then and there that she talks like that in front of her kids, because that was something that she denied in front of Heather and Emily, that she has conversations about Heather around her family. And we see that she does, to the point that her own son, who can't even be no older than like 8 years old, is questioning her about, was Heather being mean to her again? Was she being a jerk to her? So this is leading me to believe Emily and Emily's boys, that Kylie brought it up to them, and that Kylie was the one that said that Heather is mean to her mother. That's what it's giving me. even with the way that Kylie told the story to Tamara and them that day didn't sit well with me, that you would even ask some 9-year-old boys, have you met your mom's friends, and what do you feel about them, and all. Like, that's weird for a 20-year-old to be asking some little 9-year-old boys that. It's like she was searching for some form of tea. So yeah, Katie is full of shit. Okay, she's full of shit, and that for me was the nail in the coffin for that whole situation. Yeah, you and your daughter are messy boots. So Heather and Katie end up going at it, and Katie tells her that, you know, she's tired of Heather basically being condescending towards her. Heather tells Katie that she is boring and a liar, which was funny to me. Tamara then pulls Jenn to the side to have their conversation and once again try to show her this evidence that Shannon was the one that brought this whole background check up or whatever. And Jenn in her confessional says Shannon could be all over that text thread. The difference is when Shannon apologizes, I believe her and I believe she will try to make a change. I don't believe that with you. And I think that we can all agree with that. I think that Shannon was being genuine with her apology to Jenn. And like I said on last week's episode, at this point, Tamara and Shannon are at fault. They both were being messy, and they both need to grow up and stop trying to go after people, like, because that's ridiculous. So Jenn and Tamara are going back and forth, and Jenn was not taking her foot off of Tamara's neck. She kept on calling her out and holding her accountable for the things that she has said and done. And then since her fake apology wasn't working, Tamara resorted back to being Tamara and says, you know, I'm not here to argue with you. So if you're going to yell at me, I'm not going to do that to you. And Jenn was like, well, if you want to leave, you can leave. Like, you can go. And I was like, yes, Jenn, do not let up off of her, because you need to be yelled at. You need to be yelled at. That's better than what Jenn should have already done to you. You are the same woman that literally slapped this lady in the face with a napkin. And you gonna sit up here and tell her, if you're gonna yell at me, then I'm not gonna. Girl, don't nobody care about none of that. Okay? And I'm so happy that Jenn is no longer being nice to her and that she has taken the gloves off and finally found her voice. So Vicky tells Katie that she has no desire to talk to Tamara. Tamara is vile and disgusting, and she ain't gonna change. She literally is not gonna change. And I was so happy to see Vicky say that, because Vicky and Tamara have gone back and forth on this seesaw of a friendship for years, and it's time for her and Shannon to get off and stay off. Okay? Because Tamara, once again, like Vicky said, is never going to change. Gina, after the ladies take a group photo together, brings up the fact that Tamara and Shannon hadn't crossed paths that whole night. And Shannon goes off about how when she says she's done. She's setting boundaries, and she's not going to do this. And she walks off, I'm done. And everybody was like, Shannon, come back. Why does she do that? Why does she walk away? Why does she do that? And Tamara is laughing and grinning and making snide comments about how I didn't even have to say anything. She just stormed off, storms the door, and all of this little stuff. Do I think that Shannon's exit was a bit much? Absolutely, 100%. She was being way over the top and dramatic. But I do agree with her about setting boundaries with people and not doing the back and forth type of game. Like, because Gina bringing that up was Gina starting mess between them, starting a moment. That's exactly why Gina said what she said. And it was a better way for Shannon to address it, about how we're not doing it and not having to be so dramatic about the whole situation and storming off and all of this old extra stuff, because you look kind of silly. So Shannon ends up running or standing right next to Matt Katie's husband and was like, I'm done. And he was like, what are you done with? And she was like, I'm done. I'm setting boundaries with people. I'm not about to do this and the third. And he was like, well, why don't you just like walk away from the show, basically? And she was like, well, I don't really like the fact that you said that to me. Like, I'm stronger than most of these women or whatever. And they end up getting into it. And Shannon basically felt like he had no place, basically giving his opinion on the whole entire situation. He made a comment too, and during their little conversation about, I care for you and me and Katie care for you, or something to that extent. But I'm like, you don't even know this lady to be talking about some you care about her. Like, you don't know her. And even she said that. Like, you don't know me like that to be even making a statement about why don't you walk away from the show or whatever the case may be. And he was like, you came over here. I was standing by myself. Like, okay. I get where both of them were coming from. I honestly do. I really do. I can't even take a side in this because I feel like I understood where both of them were coming from. It was just weird and awkward. So then Johnny J arrives to pick Alexis up. For somebody that don't want camera time and don't want to be on a reality show, he sure makes his presence known, because why did you have to show up to pick Alexis up on the season finale episode? Did he drop her off? I don't remember seeing him drop her off. Like, you wanted a moment, sir. You and her wanted a moment, and she's so dang on stupid that she can't see the trees from the forest. I don't think that's the right connotation, but whatever. So here go Gina and Emily messy, but Emily up here hoisting Gina up so she can look over the wall to see them leave. And it was so funny. Katie and Shannon was cracking up laughing. And I loved when Shannon said, she didn't steal my man, she stole my problem. And I was like, exactamundo. Okay, Shannon, yes. And Emily ended up falling in the bushes. It was just a really cute, funny situation. Jenn and Ryan make a speech about their relationship and how, people doubted them, but here they are, better than ever, and, happy that they stuck it through. And then lo and behold, 3 weeks later, Ryan is accused of laundering money through casinos in Vegas. Jenn and him are filmed, and she is freaking out, talking about how her friends are basically going to be like, I told you so, and making her look, basically pointing out how he made her look stupid and how they told you so. He says that none of it is true and that he's sorry that, this is happening, and he don't care what her friends got to say. None of that. He says that he isn't a part of his friends' bookie business. He has nothing to do with that, right? This is what this man is saying. Do I believe him? No, I do not. Heather, Emily, Tamara, and Alexis link up, and then we see Katie and Gina link up at Katie's house. And Katie mentions to Gina how when Ryan's friend Matt arrives, that her husband Matt walked away to the back because he was like, the feds could walk up in here at any moment, and basically I don't want to be no parts of it. And then we get flashback audio of Matt talking to Terry and saying, obviously it's all over the news. And Terry was like, you're involved with that, so will you go to jail? And the dude Matt says, I might. The people I'm friends with, I'm not going to rat on. And like, he was making light of the situation, to be honest with you. And that made me feel like, okay, if I do get taken down, he's not going to squeal on the people around him. He going to take it on the chin, and that be that. And that gave me, I ain't going to snitch on Ryan and anybody else that might have been involved. And then they flash back to him saying, this is my money launder, talking about Ryan. I'm just saying. So the ladies talk about how $16 million is in Ryan's account that he can't account for. He don't know where it came from. What? What? Like, you're not going to tell me that man wasn't involved in this bookie Vegas scheme. Like, he was heavily involved. You going to Vegas every other weekend with this man and you got $16 million in your bank account that you don't know where it came from. Okay, girl. All right. So Tamara is gloating. I told y'all. She put on an FBI hat. All of this. And Emily was like, if she chooses to marry him, she's a dumbass. Okay. I feel the same way too. I wouldn't marry him. I wouldn't marry him at all. I stay there until I can get up on my feet. I get as much dough as I can up out of him, but marrying him, absolutely not. Okay. At this point, I would be playing the game. Y'all want to call me stupid all y'all want to, but lo and behold, in my mind, I would be over there plotting and planning. Okay. So Jenn joins Emily at Katie's house. They sit down in the kitchen and Gina flat out says to Jenn, I feel that you are in an unhealthy relationship. And oh, Bambi-eyed Jenn, but what part of him is not good for me? And Gina was like, everything that is happening right now, girl. So Jenn was like, I was in a marriage for 23 years to a man that couldn't have a fucking conversation with me in our own home if I begged for it. Now I have a man that feels like my best friend. I feel like I can tell him everything, and I feel like he tells me everything. And it's like, sweetheart, I get it that you were in a marriage with somebody that was cold and cerebral and emotionally unavailable and did not see you, want you, or whatever the case may be. And I get that. Then you meet Ryan, this man that is adoring of you, all over you, affectionate and all over you and telling you how beautiful you are and all of this stuff. And it feels great because this is what you wanted from your husband. But at the same time, my love, I get so sick of women saying, but he's my best friend. Girl, get a dog. Like, stop with that he my best friend crap. Because a best friend wouldn't have you in this predicament, ma'am. He could be your best friend, all right, but that don't mean you got to be in a romantic relationship with him. My God. So Gina was like, Jenn, you're placing yourself in the line of fire. All your concern should be right now is yourself and your children. And yes, that is true tea. So Jenn gets to crying and was like, I just fucked it all up. I literally fucked it all up. And Gina in her confessional says, I think it's incredibly hard for Jenn to come to terms with the fact that she blew up her life and left her husband and put her family through a lot for this man who isn't who he presented himself to be. And I was like, that's real. That is real. Do I think that she should have still left her husband if she was in this horrible, loveless marriage? Absolutely 100%. But she should have been leaving with her ducks in a row, not about no man. It's because this is something that she felt like she needed to do for herself and for her family and her children. You know what I'm saying? But it's like she went from one bad situation to another bad situation. And she has not learned the lesson that God is trying to show her, which is you need to be self-sufficient and stand on your own 2 feet and stop going from man to man, thinking that they're going to be your savior and basically take care of you. You need to learn how to take care of yourself. Well, in the end, we learned that Ryan was never accused or charged of any wrongdoing and received full use immunity. Okay. His friend Matt pled guilty and faces up to 18 years in federal prison. Ryan and Jenn plan to marry in 2025. Now, I Googled full use immunity, and it says, because I was like, does that mean that he was guilty? So it says it is not intellectually safe to conclude that whenever a witness is granted immunity, he must be guilty of a crime. An involuntary witness often receives immunity simply because a prosecutor wants to know what the witness knows. So it's giving me, he gave the prosecutors or the feds or whomever the information that they needed to know with a deal that he could get immunity and not serve any jail time, and that they can't bring this up against him in the future. It's giving me very much, Matt didn't rat on him, but he ratted on Matt. That's exactly what it is giving me. I do not think that he was innocent or anything. I think that he took a plea deal that I'm going to give y'all the information that y'all want in return that I get full use immunity. Yeah, and that's how he was able to get off on this whole entire situation, because he snitched. Yeah. So, child. So, the prosecutors can't come back and try to prosecute him for the same thing. Now, if something else spring up, I'm guessing, yes, he could be persecuted. So, Jen, I just hope you being smart, girl. I really honestly do. So, woo! Can't wait for the reunion next week. It looks like it's going to be really, really good. I'm going to give the season finale episode of OC, I'm going to give it a B+. It was really good. Really, really good. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about the episode down below in the comment section. I will be doing a fashion killer review of all of the confessional looks from this year. So be on the lookout for that. I love you guys, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.